I guess it does give the intro here. So here we are. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to Wisdom and Woo. Thanks for joining me. I'm super excited today because I've got like one of my absolute 100% like favorite people in the world here with me. I don't know how she let me con her into joining, but I'm excited to be here to talk about the full moon. Though I have a lot of Libras in my life, she is absolutely my first favorite Libra. I have here with me Angel Starr. What a nice name, Angel Starr. How are you? Welcome.
Thank you. Angel Star
Oh.
is perfect. Perfect name from the perfect lady.
Oh, yes, your
Thanks.
mom must be amazing with such a
She
cute name.
is.
So, yes. So anyone who can't tell, this is my eldest daughter here,
Yes.
Angel Star. I know it's hard to believe, but I was 5. I was 5 when I had her. We got through kindergarten the best way that we could, and just don't do the math. It's fine. It all works out. So,
We made it work.
we made it work. We
Yeah,
kind of grew up together. I mean, we did kind of grow up together,
we
in
did.
a lot of ways. But yeah, that's for another show, another episode. Today we're talking about the full moon in Libra,
Yeah.
and so I'm gonna give a little intro for Angel, and she can fill in the blanks of anything that I did not mention, and then we'll talk a little bit about Libra and the full moon and what we need to be doing this for this full moon in Libra because this year is just going by. So,
Hmm.
all right, let's see. Angel Starr. Angel Starr is an amazing, amazing mama for. She loves being a mom. She enjoys helping folks, like, and when I tell you all the folks in every capacity, she does. She has really been enjoying getting more connected, deeper connections from things that she's learning from others, things that she's learning from herself, things that she's learning from her mom.
Yeah.
She really is a natural giver to everyone about everything. So she seeks to try and make each day a little bit better for herself, for her family, and for others. And she is a soul searcher who is inspired by
Yes.
everything, all the things, like my podcast, all the things.
All the things.
Yes. Is there anything I'm missing that the people need to know about you and what makes you magical?
Um, I think I'm magical because I come from magic, so
I mean,
kind of an inheritance. But it's just awesome to know that from where I stand in my, if we want to break it down to generation, I'm the next one. Um, just to keep finding, different and unique ways to just be magical, be helping, looking out
Mm,
for others, and learning how to look out for myself. So,
yeah. We're just going to keep this going. So this is going to be like annoying for all
yeah,
of you watching this. That yeah, we just love on each other all the time,
I know
and
we might even
and
cry.
I
So,
know. I was just gonna say, and inevitably we together at least start crying. So we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen
yeah,
here. We'll have to wait and see. So okay, so let's talk about Libra's energy. So
yes.
tomorrow we've got this full moon that is coming in Libra. So well, I'll start with the Libra energy first, and then we'll kind of talk about full moon stuff because I think this full moon is pretty special. I think for us collectively,
Yes.
just just because of this the balance between Aries and Libra. But let me start with Libra. So for me, Libra feels. I mean, it's the scales, right? So it's all about balance. It's all about it really is about relationships. And I'm going to say, for better or for worse, Libra energy is very focused on relationships and sometimes to its detriment, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes that focus is so strong, that pull is so strong that that Libras
Mhm.
collectively get lost in
Mhm.
those relationships, not just intimate partners, but all the relationships, right? Um, you know, I think about Libras as, to me, Libras are the sweetest, like, kindest people. Like, that
Mhm.
energy is so, like, soft and sweet until it's not,
Yes.
right? I think because it feels so soft and sweet and loving and, like, harmonious, right?
Yeah.
I think is a really good word for Libra, that
Mhm.
when there's something that's off, right? Like when that like mama bear rage energy comes through,
Oh, yes.
or even again with that focus on relationships, right? When there are
Mhm.
things like not being heard, not being listened to, like I'm working hard to find balance. What are you doing?
Right.
That there is this like disconnect that can happen that
Mhm.
seems very out of the blue, but it I think it usually takes a while for Libra energy to get there, but when it does, it's like, "Oh, I've gone too far," right?
Drastic.
Yeah. Um, what else? I think about so when you think about balance, I guess,
Mhm.
it's a balance of everything, right? It isn't just relationships. It's like always looking for there to be harmony. I'm gonna go back to that word.
Mhm.
There, whether it's colors, whether it's clothes, whether it's, how much time is being spent on a thing, like, it's always this, like, I've done too much of this, now I've gotta do more of that to balance things back out.
Yes.
Um, what else? I think, and I not that I've mentioned a lot of, like, negatives, but I think again, the challenge because of that constant desire for balance, that there's also this, like, constant running dialogue.
Mhm.
Libra, the air sign, so that's all about communication, and so
Mhm.
there's a constant dialogue of, like, you're not doing enough or you're doing too much.
Mhm.
Um, that is part of just that Libra energy, right?
Yeah.
That never seems to really go away, and even though we all have that little voice, that's always, like, sometimes nagging us, sometimes pushing
Mhm.
us, I feel like Libra energy, like, that's just standard, right?
Right.
Like, that's a separate voice on top of the other voice of the rest of
I
us that we
definitely
have.
get that.
So, tell me, of those things, does all of that feel like, "Yeah, yep, that's a real thing."
Yes. That absolutely just speaks all the volumes to me, as a Libra.
Mm.
As far as the scales, even just visualizing it, it's like if I'm up, sometimes it's two up. And I know you sorry you can't see it's two down, but you get
Mhm.
it. That's how crazy it can feel. And um it's with everything, it's with
Mhm.
everything all the time, almost to the point of like that equal finally when the balance is out, it's like that's so abnormal to be in that state that
Right.
it's like how do I stay grounded, how do I keep myself calmer, how do I give myself these options to choose to not go so chaotic, and so extreme sometimes. So
That's interesting that you bring that up, that idea of, because I was just writing about this, and in the newsletter for this week, this came up, this idea of sustaining
mhm.
happiness, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes we spend so long, looking for it or trying to find
Mhm.
that balance that when we get it, it's like, "Oh, wait, am I doing this wrong?" Right? Like, you
Right.
can't even enjoy it because it doesn't feel natural for
Right.
it to be there.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting and challenging, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Because again, I create, maybe it's just me, if it has part to do with my Libra-ness, I do just crave balance. For me, it just
Mhm.
it just makes sense, but in seeking that balance, it's like sometimes I create my own chaos, if that is even relatable,
Yeah,
just because of the extremes. But it's just a work in progress.
yeah. It's funny, I was just talking, I was with some friends on Saturday, watching basketball. I mean, I wasn't watching basketball, but I was with them watching basketball.
Mhm.
And, we were talking about astrology a little bit, and someone there was a Libra, and people were like, "Oh, the drama queens, right? The dramatics." And it's funny because I hear people say that,
Mhm.
but for me, and maybe you feel like you're dramatic, but for me, I feel like because of the balanced nature of Libras that they
Mhm.
attract dramatic people, like much more like as a Cancer, as a water sign, we
Mhm.
attract people who need more support emotionally. But I
Right.
feel like Libras, because of that constant work towards balance, that people tend to gravitate towards you who are going to be a little bit more dramatic, or you find
Mhm.
yourself maybe even seeking out sometimes dramatic people because you're like, I can fix you, I can help to
Oh,
balance
that
this.
part. Absolutely, I can agree with that. I find myself in situations where and more recently started realizing it, that I am the one like putting myself in certain situations because I want to help, I want to fix or save or mend or what have you. Like, I don't have
Mhm.
all the superpowers in the world,
Mhm.
but what I do have, I feel like can be contributed somehow, and I must do this
Right.
mission. But just really now learning that I don't have to be, because then that puts me at an imbalance when I'm trying to balance somebody else, or other situations, that it actually puts me in an imbalance for myself, which is
Yeah.
not good for anybody.
Well, it's not. And,
No.
that kind of brings us to the full moon because, the full moons are when the sun and the moon are opposed to each other, right? They're
Right.
opposite. That makes it the full moon.
Hmm.
And so that opposition is um it's a friction, right? It is, two different ends of a spectrum.
Right.
And for Libra, it's opposition, right? We're in Aries season. The sun is in Aries
Mhm.
right now. And, we've talked a lot here about this Aries energy and it being about the self, it being about understanding who you are first. And
Yeah.
people see it as like selfish or self-centered, but the rest of us aren't doing that enough, and that's
Right.
why we have this kind of hesitation around Aries and like, "Oh, they're all about themselves." Yeah, and right?
Right.
We need to get that. We need to get some of that. And
Yeah.
so you think about like this Aries sun and this, in this season, in this time, this energy of focusing on yourself and
Mhm.
just yourself.
Right.
That opposition now of Libra, right? Being in Libra, balance,
Hmm.
scales is like, Wait, what?"
Hmm.
Right? Like, I woke up trying to figure out what to do with myself,
Right.
but now I'm trying to fix everybody else, right? And I
Mhm.
think that opposition, at this time, even though full moon is about, like, getting to the height of energy, and we've been
Mhm.
building, building, building from the new moon in Aries and kind of going through where we've learned about ourselves, we should be spending time focusing on learning more about us, and we get to this like peak, right? That's the full moon. But I think at that peak, we start to see that, yes, we need to understand who we are.
Mhm.
At some point, we got to walk outside, right? At some
Right.
point, it's got to be together with others
Mm.
and finding the balance within the balance,
Right. That's the
right?
tricky
Yeah.
part.
And so for you, I mean, if you think about, you being Libra, um,
Hmm.
when you think about focusing on yourself, learning more about yourself,
Right.
what is that? Do you feel some resistance because you're like, no, my whole life is supposed to be about other people?
Yes. I can say I do struggle with that. For as long as I can remember, it's only been really more recently that I've just happened to just been like, nope, something's got to change,
Yeah.
because I've been butting heads, if I can say, with my own self for so long, trying to accommodate for others in my life. And again, like I
Hmm.
was saying, bringing balance to other people, but what is it doing to myself? So I do struggle with that often. I haven't really healed or totally recovered from those ways, but I'm absolutely a work in progress in that area.
Well, I mean, and we all are.
Yeah.
We never get to the end point, and I think the quicker that we recognize that and we can be
Right.
honest with ourselves, like, that this is not a there's not an end goal here,
Right.
you know?
It's continuous.
You're not behind. There's not
Hmm.
an end point. You are where you are, and you gotta just keep moving.
Right.
And that really is, this energy right now around this full moon is just that, right? It is,
Hmm.
not just one thing. It's who
Hmm.
we are, but then it's who we are in relation to other people, right? Even if
Right.
it's your family, even if it's just,
Hmm.
your parents, if you don't have kids, if you don't have a partner, um, there are people, none of us live in a bubble.
Hmm.
We have to, think about how are we able to maintain who we are,
Yes.
and then
Hmm.
still, in addition to, at the same time,
Right.
show up around other people,
Absolutely.
you know? And
Um,
so, yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just thinking like more recently, I've really been asking myself that question, like, how do I do this? How do I show up in that way? Because again, just really harping on that imbalance for myself, for so long. Um, then when I finally do decide to do something for myself and like, wait, what? Is this the right thing I'm supposed to be doing right now?
Right.
But really just focusing on those things that if feel good to me because it is balancing me
Mhm.
out, then I realize when I feel good, I can actually bring that feel goodness to everything else around me. And it's like
Exactly.
light bulb. It makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that I think that's the thing that it's about, you know, e- everything is nothing is just one thing, right?
Absolutely.
Everything is black and white, everything is,
Mhm.
masculine, feminine, this and that.
Right.
We live in this gray in the middle,
Mhm.
but we have to remember that it's never just one thing. Even if,
Right.
even within tarot, it's like halfway through those life lessons is the Wheel of Fortune. It's
Mhm.
wherever you are right now, things are going to change,
Yeah.
good or bad,
Mhm.
and I think um, knowing that there is that something that's offsetting you, right? If things are
Mhm.
like really shitty,
Mhm.
well, that means that I'm destined for something really great. You
Right.
know, that's that I can't just stay here. You never just stay in this one spot,
Right.
and it's easier to think about that when things are going great and you worry about what's going to go wrong. But,
Right.
I think reminding ourselves of that,
Mhm.
and using that kind of energy, as we talk about these cycles and focusing on these moon cycles specifically, now the full moons are a time for release, right? Like I said, we get to this building, 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 we get to this crescendo of the full moon.
Mhm.
The things that we put into place or we planned for at the new moon, right, just
Mhm.
before it, we've been hopefully building and working towards those things. And now is the time to say, okay, well, how is that gone? And what do I need to let go of? Right. So
Mhm.
full moons are about release.
Right.
And so if we think about releasing and we think about Libra's energy, right,
Mhm.
you know, it's kind of what do we need to let go of that is keeping us
Mhm.
from finding that balance, you
Mhm.
know? I mean, I don't know, if you've got any ideas or suggestions of things for, as far as Libra's kind of energy goes,
Mhm.
of what needs to be released right now, because again, it started out with thinking about us.
Yeah.
How are we growing to be with other people? So now, what do we
Mhm.
need to start releasing to make that happen? What do we need to let go of? You know?
I yes. Part of it I believe is the feeling like I have to be responsible. You
Mm,
know, I just think going back to the balance part, with everything, there's checks and balances for everything in life, but I'm not solely responsible for it all.
Mm-hmm.
And once I truly like come to a point of believing that for myself, then I can move accordingly, to benefit myself. That I'm not responsible, for saving everybody's day. I'm not responsible for showing up, putting on, if I could say, the mask or what have you, struggling, all the emotions and feelings and everything that come, just allowing myself to just be. If
Mm-hmm.
this is how, I can't see it in the view, but if this is how my scales are today, then I have to see how this works for me in this day, and
Mm-hmm.
just finding out at any measure, there's no wrong measure to be. Even when I think of my scale being completely down on one end and totally up on one end, it's like somewhere at some point a little bit of the weight comes up and I can get a little, little bit higher to get not totally balanced, but just a little bit. Those every movement counts. But it really starts with just, I think, me just, and even Libras in general, just letting go of that responsibility, letting go of that even control. I never even truly realized how controlling that I felt like I needed to be, but
Mm-hmm.
even letting some of that go,
Mm-hmm.
um, and allowing ourselves to be helped, you
Yeah.
know. We want to rescue the day, but who do we allow or let rescue us? Who do we
Right.
let in to help us?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly what I wrote down, that letting go of unnecessary responsibilities is what
yes,
I added, unnecessary, or again, things that aren't even yours,
right,
because there's such a focus on everybody else.
yes,
Stop taking that stuff on.
yeah,
What are you still hanging on to right now
hmm,
that's not yours?
right,
That's keeping you from connecting to who you are,
yes,
you know? Yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot. I think that makes a lot of sense.
mhm.
And so I just pulled a card. I don't have my other. I'm going to put it up here. I don't have my other camera. Um, and so
Ace of Cups.
yeah.
Hmm. I
So
like
when
that
you,
one.
so when you look at that, what jumps out at you? What
I
do you?
automatically felt like a freeing, like
Mhm,
a weight lifted off.
mhm,
It just feels, uh, it feels beautiful to me. The little ones that are there, the fish underneath are, look to be or seem to be struggling a little bit, but finally, once you let go and you release, the one up top is just enjoying everything. You wouldn't
mhm.
think so because it's out of the water, but it is.
Right,
Sometimes we have
right.
to come out of our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, the Ace of Cups, as I do love the Ace of Cups in this particular deck. Aces are new beginnings, right?
mhm,
They're fresh starts. They're that little spark of whatever newness.
mhm,
And then cups are our emotions, right? And so even though, we are not in a water sign either way, where,
mhm,
we got fire on one end and air on the other. Um, it's funny, whenever I see this Ace of Cups, especially in this deck, but
mhm.
normally whenever I see Ace of Cups, even though it's water, to me, this is about like fertility. This is
Yeah.
about creation, right?
Mhm,
I'm always curious when I pull this for a woman if she's pregnant, right? Or if, or even, like starting a new business or, something like that,
mhm.
that, I know it won't show up good in conjunction with me, but if we think about, again, this releasing, right? I mean, there's this water being released. And like you
Yeah,
said, this fish is not even in the water, but how
yeah.
free does that little fish look?
Mhm.
And those other fish that are actually in their element, they're in the water, look like the ones who are struggling,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you can never pull the wrong card when you ask these questions, but I love this card for that reason, because it feels like giving yourself the opportunity to create something completely new, um,
Yes,
if you just let go of this other stuff that's not even
absolutely.
yours, you know? I
And
love it.
sometimes for me, I'm alluding to that point of creating new, for myself in particular, I've just been, newness even for myself, again, going back to Libra, everything is so focused on everything else all the time. And really, it's a new feeling to focus it on myself, even though I'm with myself 24/7, but to actually dedicate time and space and energy to say, no, this is about you. It's
Right.
new, it's not familiar, but just creating habits, letting go of those things that are not suitable anymore, like even you were mentioning earlier. um I forgot exactly how you worded it, but just unnecessary
Uh-huh.
responsibilities. That's
Yeah.
how you said it. Because we just along the way just pick up some stuff. Oh, I already got 10 things in my bag, and oh, I just see one more thing. Let me just
Yeah.
no, I
Yeah.
don't have to just anything else anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah, just because you can pick it up
Exactly.
doesn't mean you should. And
Yes.
it definitely doesn't mean it's your responsibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
You're s oh, you're so brilliant.
Right.
Oh, and I think
In
too,
my DNA.
I mean, and I think that, a lot of that comes, with age, right, and experience, right? Not necessarily just the number age, but
Yeah.
the more life experience you have, the
Yeah.
more you're able to recognize things, right? The more that you're able to open up and see,
Hmm.
"Hmm, where am I?
Hmm.
What's happening? What have I already experienced?"
Right.
To kinda grow from that, and if your eyes are
Absolutely.
open, if you're in a place where you can see those things,
Yeah.
it makes it a lot easier, and, Libra relationships, having people around you
Hmm.
who are encouraging you, who support you,
Yeah.
who wanna make sure that you are showing up as the best version of yourself
Yeah.
is so, so, so important.
Yes.
I mean, I can't stress that piece of it enough, having those folks around, and that really is the gift, I think, of Libra is not just not just showing, the value of relationships, but
Hmm.
the necessity, right? The
Yeah.
necessity of relationships, of a balanced relationship,
Absolutely.
I think really is the gift of Libra, so,
Hmm.
oh. Yay. Any other profound words you'd like to share before we finish?
I don't know if they're profound. We've heard it all before, but just to all my lovely Libras out there, just let it go. And sometimes we don't know that we can let it go, but it's okay to let it go. It
Yeah,
really is. And it will be okay. You will be okay. Things will be okay. It will be even better than okay. But it's okay to let it go.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had some Frozen music here. We could break into song, but
I know.
well, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining
More than
me.
welcome.
I hope you'll be back.
Yes.
I'm gonna
Thank you
try to
for having
convince your
me.
sister to join me. Now that will be like
Woo!
that will be a coup. If I can get that Sagittarius on
Listen.
here, what? I will pin a medal on
We'll
myself
have
if I
to
can
work
make
our
that
double magic.
happen. Right. Well, thank you so much, Angel. And yeah, if anybody's got questions or feedback, you can pop it into the chat and we'll make sure to get back to you. So thank you for joining me, Angel.
Thank you
Thank you,
for having
everyone,
me.
for
Thank you.
watching.
Yes.
And we'll talk soon. Stay magical, y'all.
Thank you.